This conference, people paid almost thousands of dollars to be in the room, and I'm about to show you guys the exact hour-long speech I gave them. Now, I was just finishing up some work here, but I was like going through some old videos, and I was like, this is a video that I've usually kept for clients, but there's enough out there for us to all win. So I'm about to show you guys this hour-long speech that I did. This speech is literally detailing the beginnings of my personal brand. And so I get a lot of feedback sometimes like, well, Casey, you're already building, you're already doing this, so of course you're making millions of dollars off of it. And here is for anybody that has ever said that to me, I hope y'all find this video and watch it, because here I'm literally documenting from 2023 all the different thought processes that I had, the processes that I went through, and how I monetize my personal brand. I'm also showing you real numbers that I usually don't tell folks, like my exact profit margins, revenue, how much we were spending on ads, all the different things I give away in this hour-long speech. So hope you enjoy it, and let's get into the speech.
I done lost my mic. I think the mic coming off. I'm gonna have to slow down in a second. All right, let's get into it. I also want to thank this team, y'all. This team is such an amazing team. This conference is so amazing. Dr. Erica has put together something. This is so random, but I found out that, even down to the paper towels in the bathroom, like all these things have been specifically picked out so y'all have a luxury experience. There was some nice, I think I actually have one. There was some nice, I'm like Denzel, I'm gonna leave here with something. Right? Some nice, right? You got one too. There was some nice paper towels, but all right. My name is Casey Brown, y'all. I'm here to talk about social media and content. I like to have fun. If y'all can't tell, I like to have fun. I like to engage. My talks, if you've heard me talk before, or you're about to experience this today, very tactical. I'm I think it's left brain, I don't know, I'm a very math and science kind of kid. So you'll see we're about to get into a lot of tactics and stuff. But I like this to be a two-way, very engaged, very light conversation. And so if that's cool with y'all, let's get into it. Some disclaimers first and foremost. Disclaimers on what this conversation is not. This conversation is not the only way to go about the things that we're about to be talking about. We're about to be talking a lot about social media, making money on social media, getting views, getting followers, all those things. I am not too proud to say this is not the only way to do it. Right? If you find other tools that help you convey the message and grow on social media, then do that. This is not the only way. My goal here is that I hope you leave with at least one gem, right? One nugget that helps you. But everything that we're about to talk about is not the only way. What this is, though, is a conversation about the things that I've done, the things that we do with our clients, which I'll talk about here in a second, that have helped them grow, right? So I want to level set expectations here. Not the only way to do it. This is just the way we've done it and the way we do it with our clients as well. Another disclaimer, though, before I continue. My background is strictly corporate. I was in corporate consulting for a long time. I then was at Goldman Sachs doing wealth management. And so a lot of the slides that we used in those corporations are very bland. And so I still have this very bland style of slides. I know I'm talking to educators, so I was a little nervous. I was telling my partner, man, I didn't bring any videos. I don't got any chart. I just, my story. That's all I got. But that's my training and kind of how I go through things. So we're good on expectations. We level set. All right, so with that said, I have an agenda. I won't get too into this. I'll try to keep this chat to about 45 minutes. We'll talk about a lot of tactical things, and I hope to leave some time for questions. I will be here all weekend. Unfortunately, my team who was supposed to be here got caught in the hurricane, so I'll be here all weekend and doing stuff. So if we don't get enough time for all the questions, come find me after. But with that, let's get into it. One ask, I've had a lot of asks of y'all today, and I'm sorry I have one, maybe two more. But first, I have one because, like I said, I like to engage. I feed off energy, I feed off crowds. And here's a fun fact about me, that you probably won't find too much out there on social media, so a lot of people don't know this. But I was a rapper. Back in the day, I was a rapper. I say back in the day, I'm 28 years old, so back in the day for me was around 13, 14. But just know, Casey Brown, and I used to go by my full rap name, Casey Brown. Casey Brown used to be hitting up all the assemblies. They used to bring me in West Bloomfield, Michigan. And, okay, we have some people. I used to go around West Bloomfield and hit up all the assemblies. And so what I used to do when I used to be in the assemblies, going, boom, 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 I had one line, it went something like this: I'm only 14, but I will steal your man. Whoa. Whoa. But everybody's singing it, you know? And what did people say to me when I, used to say, dang, Casey got bars. Casey got bars. And so now I don't rap anymore, I do talks. But if something resonates with you, if I say something that you're like, ooh, that's good, I want you to call out bars. I was about to say let's practice, but y'all are already perfect. This is easy. Perfect. Yeah, y'all, they said the teachers are like the best student. Like, this is great. So if something just resonates with you, or you just want to give me some energy because I feed off of it, all right, let's move on. So with that, y'all are very reactive to, like, y'all are, okay, settle down. So first and foremost, I will say I was raised properly. I was raised, that wasn't even a joke. If I am going to ask something of you, I should introduce myself. I should also tell you why I think, or what context that I have, where I hope that you listen to me for the next 45 minutes. So this picture that I think you guys are saying all to, or maybe it's me in the 32-inch bust down. Ski-wee, my sorors. A lot of people ask me, we'll be in conversation, and now I'm a business owner and all these things, and so sometimes people ask me like, oh, well, when did you know you wanted to be a business owner, or this hustle that you have, all these things? And I always point back to this time, this like 5-year-old time in my life. I was raised by a single mom. She's my best friend. But around this time, I was really becoming more aware to all the effort my mom was putting into my life, money and time, to make sure that I had the best education possible, the best basketball teams and all this stuff, right? And or probably around this age, I just started having this feeling like I really would just want to pay my mom back, whether that was like a Mother's Day gift or making breakfast, like whatever it was. I saw us as a team, and I wanted to contribute even more. So I would say my hustle, I'm also from Detroit. I also have on a Coogee sweater. Like, we hustle different. I've been hustling, baby. But the hustle kind of like mindset probably started around this age, right? But as I progressed through life, I was probably like 12 years old selling stuff on Craigslist. At 16, I started my first business, which grossed 6 figures in about 3 months, all from just posting pictures on Instagram at the time. But to me, all the things that I was doing to make money, I had like 2 jobs at 16 while playing 3 sports and all this stuff. Well, all those things I was doing, one was to help my mom out. 2, I just thought I was just hustling, right? And so the way I was gonna really pay my mom back was because they say I was a pretty book smart kid, I was gonna go to school to be a doctor. So you see this newspaper article right here. As a senior, I was working in the emergency room, and so I was on this track to go to college and be a doctor, because that's what smart kids that don't want to be a lawyer or engineer, that's all we can do, right? Go be a doctor. And so the thing, though, about going to college was like, how are we going to afford the schools that I want to go to? I didn't want to play sports in college, and so I was just like, how can we afford this? Luckily, long story short, I became a Gates Scholar, and so I had $1 million now of access to capital to pursue my education. I ended up, thank you. So I ended up going to Northwestern University. It's right outside of Chicago. Luckily, okay, go Cats. No one generally knows what that is. It's a good school, though, I promise. But I forgot I'm talking to educators. My gosh. Like, golly, man. But I went to Northwestern. Probably about 3 years in, right, to my 4-year degree, I realized that I don't really like blood. And so this is going to be a bad story. And so long story short, a lot of folks that go to this school, they have parents or they themselves are interested in business, either banking or consulting. And so I switched and ended up graduating with a degree in economics. After that, I went on to corporate and did some stints at some other institutions and other companies. And so I was well on this track. I was 24, or I was 23 at the time. I'm 23 years old now, a couple years out of college. I'm making around $200,000 a year. And from somebody that comes from a house, guys, I haven't even got to the algorithms. As somebody that comes from a household where my mom was making $40,000 a year supporting me in this pretty expensive suburb that we lived in, $200,000, like, I was set. My mom was feeling like, okay, Casey's good, right? And so one day, though, I call her, and I'm like, hey, Mom, I'm just not feeling it, right? Like, she's like, well, is it the people? Is somebody bothering? Like, what's going on? I'm like, I can't explain it. And I actually heard somebody talking about this, a few people yesterday, and it's just like, it's kind of fine. Everything's fine, but I know I'm not supposed to be here. Like, I know there's more. And when I said more, I wasn't talking about money per se. It was, for me, like joy. Like, I just hated going to work. And so I called her, right? I just hated it. So I called her. I'm telling her this, and I won't say her 50-plus-year-old black mother was like, 200, Casey, you better figure out a way to like what you're doing. But she didn't say, she had a little bit more compassion. But then literally that next day after I talked to her about it, I prayed, I talked to my grandparents, I talked to my dad about it. Everybody had their fears of their own. One of the things that I've learned is that everybody's fears are not mine to carry, right? So everybody had their fears. And they're valid fears, right? Like, they didn't grow up with much, and so they're like, yo, think about this. So everybody had their fears, and I did what any kind of child that really cares about their parents and grandparents would do. I quit my job the next day. And that started, though, this journey with no plan, right? I should also say I was partnered at the time, and so I went from the partner with money and less travel to the partner sleeping on the couch with no job and no plan. Luckily, I'm still partnered, so shout out to my partner. But I had no plan, really. Things happen, and this story or this presentation is not all about my story. I just want to give you some context of where I'm coming from. Things happened, what I like to call alignment happened, and within 7 months, the business that I started after this grew to 7 figures in 7 months. And so had a lot of fun doing that and still do that. I enjoy what I do. I hope you guys can tell. I love what I do. And so that's a little bit about me. So let's get down to business now. Again, I give that context so you can understand the frame of which I sit in and come from. And I have a couple more stories to share as it relates to the transitions that I made and how we've been able to grow, again, leveraging social media. And if you don't take anything from this lesson or this session today, I hope that in your notebooks, I hope you have out your notebooks too. Like I said, I like to get pretty tactical in these conversations. But if you don't write anything else down, you doze off or you zone out or you start scrolling Instagram or whatever, I ask you to write this down. This is the only thing that you write down. I ask you to write this down and really like sit in this. As you write this down, I'll share why this is so important to me. Attention is the new currency. 100 years ago, to build real wealth, like real wealth, what did these people do? They were in oil, right? A lot of oil money, these big tycoons, right? As things started progressing, and there's a lot of literature out there about this, but right now, we are in the attention economy, right? These huge people from Mr. Beast to The Rock to Kylie Jenner to somebody I'll talk about it here a little bit later, Tabitha Brown. Attention is the new currency, right? These creators, the folks with the most attention, are becoming the new tycoons right now, right? And so when I actually got outside of my ego and started paying attention to this, I started to say to myself, well, Casey, I'm literally seeing, and Lamar and I were just talking about this, I'm literally seeing it's not the best that win in this game of business. It's not the best service or the best product, or to me, I have the best agency, right? It's not the best that win. It's the people with the most attention, right? Attention is the new currency. And so, again, I like to have a science brain and math brain, and so I like to take and make theses. And so as I started just researching this a little bit more, I started challenging myself with like, well, where's your attention, right? I've done all these really cool things, as you guys can see. I worked at some cool jobs, and I had networks within those respective fields. But outside of Stripe or Accenture or Northwestern or my family, no one knew who I was, right? Like, I didn't have the attention. And so I said to myself, and this is something we say within our agency all the time, that your personal brand is your retirement plan. A personal brand is my retirement plan. And what I mean about that, right? Let's think about it. For me, I'm not too emotionally attached to any business, right? I think businesses have life cycles, and this comes from great conversations with mentors. But at some point, I probably won't have the businesses that I have, whether you sell them or what have you, right? But there's something that I can always have, and that my investments into will keep giving me returns even after life, right? And that's my personal brand. If you think about it, Oprah, right? She's no longer having a daytime television show. She still has a really strong personal brand, right? Michael Jordan, anybody that you can think of that's not even actively doing what they got famous doing, they still have the attention. And so I started realizing this, like if I grow an audience, or i.e. gain attention, that's something I'll have for the rest of my life. And with that audience, I can do a lot of things. Dr. Erica just went through Beyonce the other day and all these different drops she's doing, right? And so all that said, I was really sitting in all this, and in addition to me kind of realizing all these things and saying personal brand is probably my retirement plan, I started to see a shift. And so in 2021 is the year I went full-time into building this agency. 4 weeks after I quit my job with no plan and then started this agency, a lot of things happened. I won't get too deep into what this stuff means, but Apple launched iOS 14.5, which meant when you download an ad or an app, you could opt out of being tracked. You guys, if you have Apple phones, it says, hey, this app is tracking you. Would you like to be tracked? And most of y'all probably click no, right? As a Facebook ads agency at the time, this really hurt us because how we were scaling the companies that we worked with was by tracking all y'all and sending you the ads, right? And so I started getting these signals, and again, as a scientist, I started to see these signals, and I said, I believe over the next few years, 2023, 2024, ads are gonna get super expensive. I think creative is gonna really matter. And I feel like the ones that are really gonna win in this game are the ones that are building their brand, that are building community, that have a following that would follow them and connect with them outside of running ads, right? And so I had that logic, and I told all of my clients who were huge spenders on ads, hey, we should really spend some time making reels and going live. And they were like, Casey, no. Like, these are people that have made millions of dollars off running ads and scaling ads since 2018, 2019. They're like, I'm not about to spend all these time and money doing all this organic stuff when we can run ads. And so I said, okay, I have to lead by example, right? I have to do it so then, one, I can learn better, and two, I can show them like, hey, here's what we did. Now, are you open to us doing this? And so we began diversifying our own business to help our clients do the same. Our company, our agencies, stopped all ads in October of 2022. This may not seem like a really big thing to some of y'all, but I'll tell you how much money we were spending on ads here in a second. It was a really big move for me as a leader to say, all right, guys, no more ads. And I should also say at this time, all of our clients were coming in through ads, right? Or 80% of our clients would come in through ads. But again, I wanted to lead by example to the clients that we were working with. We also, at this time, launched a low-ticket product. This is important because I want to show you guys, again, how building an audience, even, I don't consider myself to have a large audience, but how building an audience can help you make money, and impact. So at the time, we only had the agency as an offering, and so we decided to introduce this low-ticket kind of community where I would go in there and teach and connect. I love connecting with people, so it made sense to me. I spent about an hour in there every week. We still have it. But we launched this low ticket, again, just to show our clients what could be possible, right? Again, I want to lead by example. Within launching that, over the next year, that low ticket product, that is a great product, right? And I don't, it's a great product. It was a full experiment, though. That product made us $222,000 in 1 year. This is only a small fraction of our total revenue, right? But it was a cool indicator for me to be like, hey, this thing that we all only spend a few hours a month on has some leg room, I should say, to be even bigger, right? I will also tell you that I didn't do all the right things. All the things that y'all are learning here about webinars and all the things, I did not do the right things to scale that product. All I did was post. I've only actually made ever 4 posts about that product that we've scaled to $200,000. It would probably do around $300,000 this year, but I've only posted a handful of times about that. Most of my posts are on Facebook, which is actually my smallest audience. I'll post a post like this. If you go to my Facebook page, you will actually see this post on my profile. It's pinned at the top. Every time we open up, the hub is what this product is called. The team will go in there and kind of change up the language. As you can see, there's 438 people here waiting to be let in. We only let in around 10 at a time. But there's always a pool for us to pull from if we want to make some money. How does this happen? Because I've been building, or at least I started to build my online reputation, i.e. personal brand, right? I started posting, I started leading with value, as I heard Dr. Erica say yesterday. And so now, what we like to call in our agency, I started building a stocked pond of people that are always waiting to give me money. They're there, I make a post, they come in, they give me money, right? And we give impact. But this only comes because I put out so much value every day, right? And I've been building up this personal brand and my audience. I'm gonna skip this, but we've been doing some cool things inside of there. But again, all this was an experiment so that I could get my clients to start building up their brands and stop relying solely on ads, right? And so this year alone, and this is a picture of the team, this year alone we've gotten 100 million views on socials for our clients. We post 1,000 pieces of content every month, ranging from short form video. When I say short form, I'm saying like a TikTok or a reel. Short form video to written content to long form. We've helped our clients increase their profit on average 23%. And it is because most of our clients still run ads, but because we've been helping them build up their brand organically, they're now able to lower their cost of their ads. How does that make sense? Think about it. If you see an ad of me versus you see an ad of Beyonce, you're more likely to probably stop on this ad of Beyonce because you know her face, you recognize her face, or even Tabitha Brown, right? And so what we're doing with our clients is hoping that they become super recognizable to people that see their ads because now we've lowered the cost for those ads. Does that make sense? We've also lowered the cost per leads and all that stuff. And again, how are we doing all this? Content and building up the personal brand. And so, in addition to some of the things that have happened for our clients or what we've done in the agency, I've also benefited, again, from building up the personal brand. And not just the low-ticket product that I showed you before, but also in our larger business. For myself, I was named Forbes 30 Under 30. You might think something like that, and thank you. I'm not discrediting that accomplishment, but you might think something like that just comes from all the cool things that I've done. Honestly, things like this come from network and people knowing you, right? I got introduced to somebody who was also a Forbes 30 Under 30 recipient. It was actually 3 people. 2 of these people I met through social media. I met them through social media because I was posting content. They liked the content. We became friends on social media. I've never met these people in person. But when they received an email from Forbes to nominate new people for the Forbes 30 Under 30, I was the first person they thought of, right? And so we're about to continue talking about leveraging social media for our businesses and making millions, right? But there's some other cool things that can happen. That year, this was last year, we made around $1.4 million in our business. I just screenshotted that off the P&L thing. $0 spent on ads, and I'll show you how much we spent on ads before, but this is all organic and through me building up my audience. And then the last thing, which enough people do not talk about, but it's probably the biggest benefit for me, is because I built up my audience and my brand, I started attracting really, really good people to come and work with me. And so this is a photo of us. We're doing like a Christmas party on Zoom, but I have a really good team. And I've never posted an Indeed post. And I'm not saying that you don't need to do these things. Again, I'm just sharing my story. But whenever I'm looking for new people to hire, I will post on socials. I also probably get around at least 1 to 2 inbound messages a week with really good people in their resumes, like, hey, I love what you're doing on socials. I would love to work with you and your team. And so it's just another benefit of me building up my brand and my audience around what can happen, whether it's a Forbes recognition, the actual money into the business, and the team that helps me do it. The last thing I'll say about building up my brand, and I hope I'm selling you guys on building up your brand. But I've also become like a really cool individual within my friend group, to my partner. I get invited to stay at hotels for free. So this was like an email from a hotel. They were asking me to make a reel because I have some followers, right? But it was like a really, really nice hotel. I think it's like $1,000 a night. We stayed there for 2 nights for free. And I put it around my partner's birthday. So my partner didn't know until this moment that I never paid for that. But use your brand, right? Also cool things, like we went out to this movie premiere with TikTok. So really cool things outside of just the business have happened because I've been building this brand. And again, I think I've been a pretty cool person all my life. You guys saw the Coogee sweaters. But it wasn't until the past 2 years where these things have happened, right? Where I've started being intentional to start building on social media, to start putting myself out there over the past, I would say 3 years, actually, that these cool things have happened. And so, again, if you don't believe me, and I saw a lot of red cards go up when we were talking about social media and marketing, if you still aren't ready to post and do all this stuff, I hope some of these stories will also get you going. These are some of my favorite people to talk about. There's one person in particular that I love talking about. But I'm sure all of y'all recognize most of these faces, correct? All right. I'm going to talk about 3 of these black faces, but there is a face, The Rock. I don't know if you guys know this fun fact. The Rock actually, I'm sure you can has made a lot more money after his wrestling career and stuff. But he has leveraged his brand to get huge deals. He had a $1 billion tequila brand deal happen, but a lot of things that can happen because of your personal brand. Now, to get to these 3 folks. I'll start with the lady in the red, and I've actually done a whole deep dive on this person and their content, and if you go on my Facebook, it's somewhere on there. But Sarah Jakes, actually, this weekend is having a really big conference, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's happening right now. Woman Evolve. I believe it's in Dallas, somewhere in Texas, at a huge baseball, Arlington, at a huge baseball field, right? I just read before this, 50,000 people in attendance, right? The final numbers haven't come out because it's still happening, but 50,000 people in attendance. In 2019, the conference had 4,500 attendees. Now, you might look at something like this and say, 4,500 is a lot, right? I think we're 250, something like that here. 4,500 is a lot of people, right? And so how did we grow from 4,500, which again is a lot, to 50,000 in the matter of 3 to 5-ish years, let's say? Some of y'all might say because of her dad or whoever. Her dad has been her dad, right? If you go look back on her YouTube channel, specifically in her Instagram, she has 3x'd the amount of content she's put out. Not only has she 3x'd the amount of content, she has also 10x'd the amount of money that they spend on producing the content. And so if you go look, you'll see so much higher production and all this stuff. But they are, and I say they as an organization, the Jakes organization, investing a lot of energy and time into building up her brand. And so you see what a personal brand can now do with you selling out a baseball arena of now 50,000 people in just a matter of 3 to 5-ish years. This next person in the green, I was actually rehearsing this. Does anybody know who this is in the green? Gosh, man. Okay, so I like to practice, right? I'm a former athlete, and so practice is a big thing for me. And so I was going through these slides last night, and I was practicing in front of my partner, and I was going through this, and I do call and response. We got to practice how we play, baby. And so the dog is sitting right there, my partner's sitting there, and so I'm doing the same thing. You guys know who this is? My partner's like, yeah, like T.I. I was like, what? But I had already submitted my slides, so I couldn't change the photo. But yes, this is Keith Lee, not T.I. Keith Lee is from Detroit. If anybody's from Detroit, I'm from Detroit, so I love Keith Lee. Keith Lee's from Detroit. He moved to Las Vegas to pursue his dreams of fighting. I don't know if you guys know his backstory, but he's a martial art, like an MMA fighter. He moves to Vegas to become a fighter. I don't know if you guys know this. I just started taking boxing, but fighters don't make that much money. And so presumably he's out there, he's trying to get into the field. Presumably, let's say he has a pretty small net worth, right, at this time. If you guys have seen some of his older videos, you've seen the house he was in. He's at this little baby chair, right? A video goes viral in 2021, just 3 years ago. According to Google and some quick math that I did off his brand deals and stuff, he's probably making right now around $5 million a year of some brand, and that's on the conservative side, of some brand deals and stuff. But somebody like that in 3 years goes from, let's say, 0, right, to 5 million. And the way that he monetizes right now, a lot of it is through brand deals. Personal brand is your retirement plan. Personal brand is your retirement plan. Tabitha Brown, my favorite creator. I got to meet and chat and actually sit with for a while Tabitha Brown one-on-one in January, one of the highlights of my year. And in this conversation, we're talking, just a magical conversation. But we're talking about her overnight success being 7 years. It was actually 7 years plus, but 7 years, right? I don't know if you guys know much about Tabitha Brown, but this is my job, right? I need to study these people so that I can learn and that we can all learn, right? And so that's why I'll know all these facts. Tabitha Brown actually was trying to become a comedian in LA. She's an actress. She was trying to get into acting. And then she's like, okay, I'm kind of funny. I like to crack jokes. So she's trying to become a comedian. So she says to herself, like, well, how can I get better? I can go online and tell jokes and post content. And so she starts building this habit of going online. She was on Facebook every day and doing her jokes, seeing what lands. So if she had a show that week, she now had a lot of practice and could go out and do her performance. So for 2 years, Tabitha Brown is just putting out comedy, like reels and skits, right? She's also doing some other stuff. So one day in 2017, she's on live. She's an Uber driver. I don't know if you guys know this. She's an Uber driver on disability because she was sick. It's the day before her disability ends. She's in the middle of dropping some rides off, and she has just recently turned vegan because she was sick, right? And so she goes into Whole Foods, she gets a sandwich, and she sits back in the car waiting on another Uber ride to pick up. And while she's eating her sandwich, she goes live just to talk because she had just started this vegan journey. That video goes viral. She's talking about how good the sandwich is. Oh, it's so good, blah, blah, blah. She's just being herself, right? Video goes viral, 2017. She links up with Whole Foods. They take her around a tour. They do all these cool things with her. Hyped, right? You think. And then she keeps posting every day because she had built this habit of showing up every day. She keeps posting. Most of us did not hear who Tabitha Brown was until 2020, 2021. That's when she has her big boom on TikTok. But from 2015, when she was doing the comedy, to 2020, that's 5 years, she had one little big boom when she had that Whole Foods thing. She's posting every day. Posting every day. What is she doing? Building up her audience, gaining attention. She gets on TikTok because she already built an audience on Facebook. She gets on TikTok. Her first month on TikTok, she gains 1 million followers, and then the rest is history. Kind of blows up from there. This is in 2020, though, right? 2020. She was showing up every day. Now Tabitha Brown has an empire of over $20 million, has seasonings, has a new line that just launched in Target, has her own hair care products, right? Once you have the audience, now you can do whatever you want with them. She didn't come on live like, hey y'all, in 2015, hey y'all, I got this hair care for you guys, I got this. She spent 10 years almost building an audience, and now she monetizes that thing. She also has a Patreon community with her and her husband. And so when I say personal, and she'll have this for the rest of her life. Keith Lee will have this audience for the rest of his life. Sarah Jakes will have this audience, right? And so when I say personal brand is your retirement plan, please, please, please start leaning in and start building. And if you think those people are an anomaly, do we know who this is? I actually was telling some of my friends, like, I want this to be the background on my laptop. Like, this photo is just like, ooh, you know? But we know who this person is, right? Can I see, and I hope this pans out how I think it's going to pan out. Can I see a raise of hands? If not, let's just act like I never said it, right? Can I see a raise of hands of who met Dr. Erica for the first time, or like your first connection with her was just in person, right? It wasn't on social media. It wasn't on an ad. It was just an in-person. Y'all met, and then maybe y'all followed each other and connected, right? So I'm just scanning. Let's say, and y'all, maybe 15 people have raised their hand, right? All right, quick scan. Y'all the educators. I don't know. I didn't do this. Let's say 15 people, 20 people, like, right? 20 people out of 250 people in here, right? And so what does it mean when I, again, say showing up on social media, building your brand? We're talking, and I use the $1 million as a good hook to get y'all to listen. But we're also talking about impact. If this lady never showed up on Instagram and does ads and all the webinars and all these things, none of us would be here, or 20 of us would be here getting impacted, having our lives changed, right? But because she shows up and she's been building and has really been building her brand, right? This is what can happen. I don't know if you guys have seen, I always love it. Dr. Erica shows up getting her hair braids taken out. She does her green screens. She'll check you in the comment. Like, she shows up as herself, right? And that's a key here with Tabitha Brown, Keith Lee, Sarah Jakes. We're not just posting content, just like Dr. Erica and the people that I talked about before, they're also showing up as themselves. What does that help us do? It helps us buy into the person. And once we buy into the person, we'll buy whatever they're selling, right? But it's because we know her and or we feel like we know her. I am lucky to have some insights into Dr. Erica's account, and she was so gracious for me to screenshot a few things. And so let's be nosy for a second. This is just one platform. I had the team screenshot literally last night. Instagram stats, they screenshotted these for me. So this is the stats over the last 30 days on Instagram, right? Quick screen grabs. As you can see, her Instagram has generated around 1.5 million views. 1.5 million views. And some other things that you can see there. But the biggest thing that I like to call out is that in this purple, I hope you guys can see it on the, there's a little circle graph, there's a pink and a purple. The purple is showing us how many people viewed this that were not followers. They didn't follow. They probably weren't us, right? 80% almost, it's 77.9. Let's just round up. 80% of that 1.5 million views, net new people. New people that can now come into Dr. Erica's ecosystem, be impacted by her, right? And maybe be at a conference like this in a few months. That's what we want to build, right? Personal brand is retirement plan. Let's say that she continues this, which I know she will, for the next 10 years, 20 years. What does this look like compounded, right? Again, I'm not ashamed to talk about money for the pockets, yes, but again, also the impact that she can have, right? Personal brand is your retirement plan. And again, look what she's able to do with all that. The secret, again, to all this, building your personal brand. So let's get into exactly what I did and what we do with our clients, right? Are you guys bought in to actually doing this? I heard Dr. Erica talk about just taking action, right? And especially that mastermind, that's a group of people that take action. I've been blessed to meet a couple of you guys. And so what we're about to go through right now, literally if you are no, this is too much for me, please tune out. Please tune out because this is about to get very tactical. Please tune out. If you're hey, I'm ready to take action, tune in. I don't care either way, right? I just want to set the ground. I don't. I hope everybody tunes in because I'm really bullish on this. But for context, I told you guys I was going to tell you guys how much we spent on ads that year we stopped. $439,000 spent on ads, right? We were scaling. You guys heard me say my hook, 7 figures in 7 months. But we were also spending. right? And these are things, I'm not emotionally attached to numbers. These numbers don't make me. So I will always be very transparent and always sharing numbers. $439,000 spent on ads. Some other things that I wanted to call out here. For me, I have a service business, like probably most of you guys. A lot of the purchases that we had that year were one-time purchases, and they were this lower ticket thing. Me as a service provider, I love MRR, recurring revenue, right? And only about 17% of our revenue was recurring. And so what I started to see was even the people that we were getting through ads were not as strong as the people we got, and by strong I mean high LTV, lifetime value. They weren't staying with us, right? And so I started investigating. Also, we didn't have any money. Profit margins at 2%. So we stopped ads. We do all that. $0 spent on ads, higher quality leads, higher MRR, 70% almost, and profit margins around 30%, right? And so making a world of a difference after we stopped ads. Again, I am bullish on ads, but I am even more bullish on money in our pockets, right? So I don't want you guys to think, oh, Casey told me not to run ads. Run ads, but build the brand, right? It's gonna make the ads just convert, make them cheaper. So I wanna be on the same page here. I just stopped spending totally on ads because I was trying to prove a point. I'm an Aries. I was trying to prove a point to my clients. I had to stop spending completely. But these are kind of our stats. Sagittarius. Did somebody just say that? Oh, you're Aries. Okay, period. March or April? I am a March Aries. I'm the one that protects our reputation, you know? April Aries is a little wild. You can thank me later. But this is my 2024 focus. So again, I shifted away from ads, and this is exactly what I focused on. And here's where you can now take notes. Number one, and this is where I'll get a little bit tactical. I got some good amount of time here, so I'll go through this. And again, I will be around if you guys have more questions, and then we can use the microphones. The first thing I focused on was a wide net, wide net. When I first started posting, I started to take this more serious and build my brand. I was making very content that was super niched to the 8-figure or corporate client that we were working with at the time. And while that was fine, I wasn't actually able to get my message to enough people, right? And let me illustrate this with this example. Does anybody know who that top person is? Shark Tank, right? Daymond John, founder of FUBU and a Shark Tank guy on Shark Tank, right? Now, we all know him in this room, or probably most of us, I won't say all of us, probably knew him in this room. But if this man, with no suit on probably, knocked on my grandmother's door, if he knocked on probably my mom's door, if he knocked on my door, if he knocked on my little sister's door, I would probably be the only one to like really recognize him if he didn't say who he was, right? Now, Tabitha Brown, at least in my family, if you knocked on my mom's door, my grandma's door, my little sister Evan's door, like we all recognize this lady, right? And the reason, and you can even see the follower count, Daymond, who I would probably argue has been exposed, at least on national television and as a founder of FUBU, right, has kind of been out in the streets or known a lot longer than Tabitha Brown, right? He has about 1.4 million followers on Instagram. Tabitha Brown is actually over this now, but has around 5 million followers on Instagram. And so this illustrates this example of if we want to build attention, we want to build this audience, let's go a little bit wider. Now, here's where I give the caveat. I am not saying we need to change up our niche, change up who we're targeting. But let me paint this example. I used to make reels that went a little bit, and TikToks, whatever you want to call them, that went a little bit like this. Let me use my phone. You could probably go find them. I don't delete anything. So if you go on my TikTok, you will see reels that are probably exactly like this. Hey guys, so yesterday iOS 14.5 just dropped, and what that means is CPMs are going to be through the roof. Click-through rates, if you want to get them higher, you're going to have to really optimize for that 30-second thumb-stop ratio. To do that, I would really put a strong click in front of those ads to decrease your CPO. Let me know if you need some help. if anybody in here like really loves ads, you really picked up what I was saying, right? But all I was saying was, hey, Apple just released this thing. As a business owner, you kind of got to be aware of this. If you want to make some more money, make better content, is what I just said in that. But because I'm so in it, right, and I want to show that I know the language and that I'm an expert, I was using all this lingo and all this language that, again, made sense to me, and I was really trying to talk to this person. But what that left me with was 10 views, 12 views, 13 views. And some people will get on this stage, or not this stage, but in life, and tell you views don't matter, things don't matter. But the views help me cast a net, right? And at the end of the day, I'm trying to make more impact and income. And if my net is super tiny with 10 views, I'm not getting as many of the ideal clients as I want, and I'm not making the impact. And so what I started switching to is, hey, it's 2024, y'all want to make some more money? All right, here's some things to do. And so I'm not changing up my niche or who I'm targeting or my business, I'm changing up my packaging so that more people can relate to what I'm saying. The more people watch my content, the algorithms show it to more people, the wider my net can be, and instead of one ideal client, I'm getting hundreds of ideal clients because I got millions of views, right? Does this make sense? Say the thing, thank you. Thank you! Number one, cast a wide net. If you have more questions about that, ask me later. Again, I need you to understand, I'm not saying change up and just target everybody. Be niche, but package it wide, right? Cool. The second thing that we did, and when I say we, I mean I did this, and then we helped our clients do the same thing, was we leveraged OPA and OPS. Any guesses around what OPA and OPS stand for? Great, you guys got it. I thought I was going to be able to, really, the educators, other people's audiences, thank you, and other people's stages, Because, again, you guys will see a lot of these Facebook posts I do, but because, again, I started building up my personal brand, I started leading with value. I posted every day really valuable content that related, or that the packaging was relatable to a wide net. I started building up an audience. So about 6 months into me doing this, I made a post like this. And I said, if you're having a live event this year, I'll come speak for free. We got 80 comments, right? There was a lot of DMs. And what this led to was I got to get in front of a lot of people's audiences, whether that was in person or virtual, right? And so a little something that you can do. Now, I was positioning myself as an expert. I was an expert, right? And so I had a lot to talk about and a lot to share. And so I just give that guidance as well. But I posted that. We ended up speaking on a lot of stages. This was last year, I believe, 2023, and a lot of podcasts. I just threw a couple pictures in here. But what this started to do was I got to get in front of audiences, yes, and I love getting in front of audiences and speaking and connecting. That is really where I thrive. But also the content we were now able to put out on socials really gave me this authoritative feel, right? And it really just elevated my brand a little bit more. So although I like to talk wide and I like to have fun, and you'll see me having cocktails and stuff on there, I also had some fun reels and pictures around, hey, I'm really an expert in this. And so that was another way we really started to scale my personal brand, but also even more clients coming in because of this kind of more authoritative photos and videos we were able to put out. Again, I like to be completely transparent. I don't really do this as much this year. I didn't do it this much in 2024, but it did help me a lot starting off. There was a lot of cons with traveling, right? And so, again, I just like to be transparent. It really wore me out doing all those events and podcasts and all that stuff. And speaking in the audiences, just really, here's what I'll say. Learn from my mistakes. If you do something like that, really inquire about the audience you'll be speaking to, the person that'll be hosting it, and just make sure it's a good fit, right? So that's kind of what that slide says. So number one, wide net. Number two, leverage other people's audiences or stages. Stages look like, for me, speaking and podcasts. It can also look like Instagram lives and things like that. But again, we're going through the 5 things that I really focused on to build my brand over the past 2.5 years. Number 3, the money is in the long form. So you hear me talk a lot about Reels and TikToks. My biggest brand, or my biggest kind of like following is actually on TikTok. And so I'm really good with short form. That is how most people discover me. And I like to tell all of our clients what I learned in this was that short form is for width, long form is for depth, right? And so you will see if you go on YouTube and look me up, I don't really post on YouTube. Now, we posted some shorts on there. I haven't really posted on YouTube. I will tell you that in 2025, it's one of my biggest focuses. It is also something that I've been pushing all of our clients to start focusing on over the past few months. Some of them have listened, some haven't, so now I have to start focusing on it to get them to do it. But I haven't really focused here. The reason being is because I didn't have a big enough audience for people to really, or enough people to be nurtured by long form. Think of short form as your net. Think of long form as the way you nurture and you get money from your audience. And so if you are just starting out with brand building, and I think Dr. Erica said this the other day, I personally wouldn't double down on podcasts and long form stuff like yourself. I would double down on short form, build up the audience, build up the followers, and then the long form. You can see this with Keith Lee, Tabitha Brown, even Sarah Jakes, right? You prioritize the short form, you get the audience, and now you have a large audience that cares about watching you in long form. This is one of my biggest focuses, though, in 2025. Now, I didn't focus that much on YouTube over the past 2.5 years, but I did do a little bit of long form, and this is what I can say. I know the money is in the long form. Again, because I have a stocked pond, I can always go out to my audience and just make a post, as you guys keep seeing. And so a couple months ago, I was like, hey, let's do a webinar. Not as like skilled as y'all do webinars, but I do maybe 2 or 4 webinars a year just to have fun and connect with people. And so we did one a few months ago. I posted a story, and then at the end of this post, it actually says, hey, I'll be doing a webinar on Saturday. If anybody wants to come, we'll do 40 slots. As you can see, there's 232 comments on this. I want in, I want a ticket, I want a ticket. I think we charge like $47 or something for this, right? We ended up having to open more spots because we just posted this and got so many comments. And so I think we had around 100 or so people there. Again, all these people have been sitting in my pond, consuming all of my information. And so even though I just made one quick post, I didn't do all the things I'm supposed to do, all the emails and all the things that are great. And if this was my full-time job, I would be doing all these things that y'all are learning right now. I would be in Turks and Caicos, I don't know, like living it up, right? I'm doing this what's like I'm doing this, I don't know, I'm doing this at 50%, let's say that. But I made a post, we had around 200 people come to that webinar. We made 6-figure, it was $130,000 that day from that webinar, and we sold them a product that I built out, right? And so again, money is in the long form. Money is in the long form, whether that long form is webinars, like I do 2 times a year, 4 times a year, or YouTube, money is in the long form, but focus on the short form first. 4, and then I got one more for you guys. Again, number 1, how I've really, or the 5 things I focused on to build this brand. Wide net, leveraging other people's stages or audiences, long form, and monetizing through there. And the 4th is, there's a funny joke with the Ivy Tower, but the Ivy Tower method. If you go on YouTube and you search Harvard Business School or any of these prestigious business schools, you'll be able to see actual lectures from these schools. Now, why would Harvard put these lectures out when people are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to this institution and you could just watch the lectures for free? Because they have a strong brand, right? But what we really took away from this with myself and our clients was like, hey, these institutions are putting out the best information they have. Dr. Erica calls it leading with value, and they attract even more people in, right? And so something that a lot of our clients were scared to do, and myself included, was put out the best information for free, right? It's like, if I say this and this reel or this YouTube video or this podcast, what are people going to pay me for? Understand that, like Dr. Erica said, and I love that she said all these things earlier, yesterday I believe she said this, we are in a trust recession, right? And so me putting out my best content establishes me as an expert, right? As an expert. In the economy that we're in right now, people want to spend money with experts. I am here sharing some valuable information, and I know we are not taking like new clients or anything like that, but I know because we're sharing valuable information, I attract people. Dr. Erica in this conference is sharing such valuable information and will continue to attract people. She shares valuable information on the podcast, on the YouTube, on the Instagram, right? All this to say, put out your best information for free, and you will actually attract a lot more people, especially in this climate that we're in. And my last point is something new. If I was giving this talk literally probably like 4 months ago, this slide would have never existed. And it's write first, video last. In February, like I said, my expertise has been in short form content, and I'm just the type of person that loves to experiment. And I hate when I like kind of good at something, like there's nothing new for me to learn. And so I started focusing like, hey, we're pretty good at video. Let's start exploring written content. So in February, I started going on LinkedIn and posting. As you can see, we have around 6,000 followers on LinkedIn. Probably my smallest audience, actually. But I make the most money and deals now from this platform. Really, really, really good leads on LinkedIn and super high intent followers. So I would equate something like 5,000 followers on LinkedIn to almost 50,000 followers on Instagram, right? Really, really good leads, really good people. But, that's not why I want to talk to you guys about LinkedIn. I want to talk to you guys about LinkedIn because it's helped me become a better creator. As you can see, I've actually gone viral twice on LinkedIn. Look at the dates of that. I actually went viral twice last week, and I've been posting again since February, right? 4 million impressions since February, since I started posting, but I only have gone viral twice. I say only because for me, if I spent that time on TikTok, I go viral on TikTok, or I can at least get some pretty good views 1 out of every 5 videos, right? And so for me, if I look at this, the old me would say, this isn't worth it. I spend around 60 minutes a day posting on LinkedIn, researching, and doing some things like that. And so to only go viral kind of like twice, the old me would say it isn't worth it. But from a business perspective, LinkedIn brings us around 13 calls a week into our agency. But more than that, because you cannot hide bad ideas in writing, you can hide bad ideas in video. LinkedIn has helped me become a better video creator. It has helped me become a better thought leader. Every day I'm challenged with, here's the message I want to say. How do I say this super concise? How do I get my point across, right? And so showing up on LinkedIn every day has actually helped me grow my audience because video is the way that I do that, and writing every day helps me become a better video creator. The hack that I will give you guys about LinkedIn or any written platform is that once you start writing and you see that an idea starts taking off, you can now use that as the exact script for your video. So it also makes my video content super easy. On Fridays is when I usually record. I sit down, I say, okay, what did the people like on my LinkedIn this week? And that's what I make a video about. And I just read the exact written post, right? So, like I say, write first, video later. Please start writing. And if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, you can scan that and connect with me. I write every day. I do some stuff. I'm going to move past this because we're over time. I'll give you guys a quick hack. It's Casey with a K, K-A-S-E-Y. Last name Brown. Orange photo. Casey Brown. My parents were trying to make sure I got a good job. You don't know what you're going to get when you see my name. So quick recap, right? Let me scoot to this. Here's the 5 things that I focused on. To build my brand, to make myself millions of dollars, and to get hundreds of millions of views for our clients and hopefully make them millions of dollars as well. Number 1, wide net. Number 2, leveraging other people's audiences and other people's stages. Number 3, long form. Number 4, put out your best content, or the Ivory Tower method. And number 5, write first, video last. And the last thing I'll just say is it's not just luck, it's not just me. We've helped this client build her audience of over 500,000 now in about 16 months. A lot of people know who this is now, I am assuming by the applause. But when we started working with Dr. Tracy Lennon, if you don't know who she is, please look into her. Just an amazing individual. But she had 9,000 followers, right? And just so to sum up even this point around impact, right? Dr. Tracy does not get on social media for income, let me tell you that. But for impact, she came to us and said, Casey, I have too much in here and I gotta get it out, right? And so now every day, hundreds of thousands of people and soon millions of people can now be impacted by her being intentional around building her brand on social media, right? And so that is all I have for you guys. I said all this, so don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. I said it all. I said it all. Like I know what's on my slide, I said it all. But I want you guys to scan this. If you open that, it's a drive that my team put together. You don't have to put in an email or anything like that. It's literally just a Google Drive. They threw in some resources for you guys to help you on your content journey. Yeah. And if you want to stay, is it opening up for you guys? It literally just opened up to a Google Drive, and they're gonna actually throw some more stuff in there on Monday, so stay tuned for that. But was this helpful? Was this a helpful conversation? All right. With that, everybody, my name is Casey Brown, and remember that your personal brand is your retirement plan. Thank you, guys.